Just had to do a few things today. Sorry about the stream cutting off from earlier on this morning, but we managed to get through the next two levels. Managed to get through IO and reactor, and the moon base, whatever it is. So we just got 3 levels left of disruptor, and then we get 100%, and then we can just do the final cleanup for disruptor, and then yeah, we're ready to go. But at the meantime, we're just watching some YouTube and having some 3-minute noodles. It's not 2-minute noodles, it's 3-minute noodles because it's the cheap version. I just realised I think it's a mozzie bite. Or it's maybe a little bit of my psoriasis playing up. But yeah, so I'm going to be watching this video of beating Majora's Mask 3D in one 3-day cycle. Daniel, hallo, wie geht's dir? Hat's gut, ja? Das ist gut, ja. Eins aufgefunden.
All for the sake of getting a horse just so that you're allowed to play the second half of the game. It's ridiculously stressful to play, and you only barely get enough time to complete these tasks.
Naturally,
for those who think that might just be a tad too easy, a harder, even more intense version exists. Welcome to Majora's Mask 3D. If you thought there wasn't enough time in Majora's Mask 64, 3D shaves off nearly an entire hour from your allotted time. Since the inverted Song of Time is nerfed in this version and only slows down time by half instead of a third, one Majora's Mask 3D cycle
and that's a complete
and
disruptor unfair.
You already couldn't spare, especially early on in the game. As a result, the Nintendo 64 route will simply not work here. Instead, a new route has to be created, one that exploits the fact that Majora's Mask 3D is not just a remaster, but a full remake to our advantage. Just like before in 64, glitches are banned, but exploits are allowed. The first cycle, often called the Deku cycle, is not considered as a generally accepted rule among people who try this challenge. The passage of time speed is increased, and you cannot do most of anything without glitches. But aside from the ocarina,
I've got a fuck ton of food here. How am I going to finish all these 2-minute noodles?
Get out of the Deku cycle to begin with. I am not allowed to bring anything from this cycle. Not even the owl statue that auto triggers if you get close is activated. With my nerves steeled, it's time to head into the expert mode edition of the ultimate Majora's Mask challenge. Like in any playthrough of Majora's Mask, I play the inverted Song of Time immediately. Just because it's nerfed in this game doesn't mean I won't be needing it. Then I immediately go to East Clocktown to get the silver rupee, deposit 49 rupees in the bank, buy the bomb back for the remaining 50 rupees, and leave Clocktown. The first place I'll need to go to is the Southern Swamp. Once I make it there, due to the adjustments made in Majora's Mask 3D compared to the original, I immediately learn the Song of Soaring just so I can leave again to Clocktown. Don't worry about it, I know what I'm doing. This time, I head out to the Great Bay from Clocktown West, and it's time for the first exploit of the run. By long jumping using a bomb from a somewhat specific area and with somewhat precise timing, Link is able to just about close the gap and land on the Great Bay fence. This allows him to enter Great Bay early and unlock the Zora mask, which will be necessary later on.
Didn't know you could do that.
Perfect, but I've been able to get it pretty consistently without buffering. After helping Mikao by playing in the song as he dies, which is the least we can do since he gave us a final solo concert with his dying breath, he leaves behind a magical mask, which Link can use to turn into a Zora. You know what? It feels wrong to have this so early. Activate the owl statue for later so that I can return here at any point, and then back to the Southern Swamp. Decoing is incredibly slow in the 3DS version compared to the Nintendo 64 version, so I use Zora Link and simply just walk through the water to save a lot of time right there. Find Pome by going left, right, right, forward, left, left in the Woods of Mystery, a place that is basically just a terminal Lost Woods. Then, since we don't have medicine for her yet, we have to leave her behind. We gotta tell Kotake about her injured sister. Kotake gives us a red potion, which I will definitely put to good use, but we don't really have time to go help Gome, so sorry Gome, maybe another day. Back to clock town. This time the north exit. It's not even 10 a.m. yet, and I'm already going to my third region of Termina. In Majora's Mask 3D, you're able to side hop or backflip onto the wall right here, which has Link slide up the side. For some reason, use that to walk past the ice. I use the bombs we purchased for their original intent, that is, blowing up things that aren't Link's body, and make my way to the mountain village. Don't forget to pick up the statue along the way. I head to the Goron shrine and talk to the child who's crying to make the entire population's ears go numb. Then go to the floating cave. Hold on, Link has something to show you. Ah yes, he found a stick. Very neat. I make it into the floating cave with help from the owl because after all this time, I still haven't memorized the locations of these invisible blocks. It seems I'm a bad gamer. Lens of Truth acquired. Take that to witness the ghost of the Goron hero Damani. And this time, I don't follow him and just warp to the mountain village and get to his grave on my own. Get his mask, use it to get the spring water out. Unfortunately, I don't have an empty bottle, only one that already contains some red potion meant for Kome. So, keeping Kome in my heart, I drink her medicine and use it to scoop up some of the hot spring water. I bring that to the bridge.
See ya, wiedersehen.
And refresh the spring water, then thaw out.
Vielen Glück, my friend.
So I can learn the Goron lullaby intro. Refresh the spring water.
Wilde gaan.
Second time, then
Vielen Glück, mein Freund. Oh, viele Glück, mein Freund. Vielen Glück, viele Glück. I can't remember.
During this frame, I press the hot spring water, which melts the ice, allowing me to make it through without a fire arrow or clearing Snowhead Temple. Now that I'm Powder Cake certified, gosh, is it that late already? I'd best head over to Romani Ranch. Breaking the boulder with the powder keg, I finally find my horse after a grueling half hour of weird sequence breaking, and, well, Romani put me on the horse, but I don't have a bow, so, Romani, mind lending me yours? No? Okay. I guess I'll just stand here for 2 minutes straight then. I am so very happy that the clock is paused during this segment. Sheesh. Romani seems disappointed in me, but decides to teach me a Epona song anyway. Next, since it's still daytime and I have a horse now, I decide to take care of the Gordon base. Pretty easy one. It's necessary to get into Ikana Canyon. So I might as well take care of it while I'm here at the Milk Road. Borrow mask received. Next, let's go back to the Southern Swamp to get the Sonata of Awakening and prepare for the first night. Kome is still... yeah, okay. And I don't have the potion anymore. So, since I don't get to ride the boat, I use the Zorathim Boomerang to kill the big Octorok and make my way to the Deku Palace through the poison on my own. Once at the entrance of the Deku Palace, don't go in. Instead, slowly hop over to the right side. Majora's Mask 3D added a shortcut to the bean cellar on the right, which allows you to skip the stealth portion. I'm not sure what the point of the gardens is now, but I'll take it. This helps a lot right now. Get the free bean and 1 magic bean for later, ride the magic bean plant to the upper gardens and traverse them all the way to the monkey's cage. The monkey tells me to cut the rope, so I grab my sword and... I grab my sword and... Wait. Where the heck is my sword? I think I dropped my sword somewhere? But where? There! This is where I lost my sword. Or maybe Romani took it? The little thief! So, I'm in a dilemma now. I need the Sonata of Awakening to get into Woodfall Temple and to get into the Composer's Grave later. And without a sword, well, let's say this monkey isn't ready to accept alternatives, despite the fact that the sword literally won't work anyway. After messing around a bit, I eventually realized that this run, despite being on great pace, is unfortunately dead, because I did not think Romani would actually steal my sword. What is her problem? I replicated this on another run as well, and nothing works. Epona won't give it back after dismounting, and the blacksmith also doesn't seem to know I have a sword. Takuri won't steal it, and it's also not in the curiosity shop. But resetting time does work, which would break the challenge. So, that just makes one more task I need to accomplish before reaching Epona, apparently. I'll just have to figure out how to deal with not having a sword later. I won't be counting this glitch to break the glitchless rules, since this is only making it harder on myself. I'm sure you can understand. Alright, here we go again. Silver rupee. This time I only deposit 39 rupees to ensure I have enough for the magic bean. Southern Swamp. I decided to just swim to Kome this time to save the trip back. The time difference is anyway. back to West Clocktown. Boom! Get it in 2 tries again. Sora Mask. Sorry for skipping past your seconds, Mikhail. You're the best though. Up on the wall. Wah! Yes, Link, I know you found a stick. Very cool. Lens. Whoops. I said. Goron Mask. Potentially stinky water. He can't remember the song. Whoops. Child sings me a song. Sora must have a full forehead right now. Boom! Forklift certified. Wait, no. Oh no, Squidward died. Beans! Hey monkey, guess what I brought this time? Whew! Mostly caught up. Learn the sonata of awakening from the monkey, then leave while the monkey gets tortured in this E10 Plus game. Well, better than just being straight up E for everyone, I suppose. Sorry, monkey. Next, finally unlocking the horse by sitting on it, doing absolutely nothing for 2 minutes yet again, and Romani is so disappointed in me that she once again takes away my sword. Don't worry, Romani, I probably won't be beating it anyway. There's still time on this first day, so I take out the Gorman brothers and get the Gar mask before getting into Woodfall Temple. A pretty standard experience, actually. Like usual, grab the key on the right, use it on the left, through the dark room, the room of boss from hell, or maybe they're dragonflies, actually. Hit the switch, finally find my way to the first mid-boss of the run. Armored Lizalfos. He still dies in one deck of stick jump slash. I collect my first dungeon item, the bow, and decide to leave.
I'm eating them now.
To come back later, and honestly, there's other things I want to take care of during the first night. It's now 8:20 p.m. and I
Eating
decided
them
to
now.
go to Ikana Canyon and get the Song of Storms taken care of first. Entering the graveyard, I find something I thought I'd lost forever. The sword? It's back? What the heck? Hi, Hyperolian Science teacher Ian Ages here. It turns out in Majora's Mask 3D, if you ride a about the bow, the game gets confused when you dismount.
It's not Maggi 2-minute noodles.
For whatever you have in your
It's 3-minute noodles.
Except it seems to be very specific.
Because it's the Woolies version.
For what's in your sword gears.
Hey, Dave.
Have a bow, it simply decides not to do anything, thus leaving your B button empty. So, Epona is apparently able to restore.
Yeah, probably about a 7.5, 8 out of 10.
So why did you make it this way? Anyways, back to the run. I kick Captain Kita's sorry behind, and with Captain Kita's soul freed from the line of duty, we take over his role as the captain and enter the composer's grave. Use the stick to light the fires, then bump the iron knuckle with Deku sticks. Okay, so it turns out he's immune to Deku sticks. So, sword it is. I'm really glad that restored itself just moments earlier. I learned the Song of Storms again. It's crazy how this song just appears as a bootstrap paradox in Ocarina of Time. Here is an actually composed song by the Terminant counterpart of the Composer Brothers. Back to Clocktown. I need to buy something and need to clear out my bottle, but since the Curiosity Shop is open, I just decide to head there and sell the fairy I have. This feels illegal. Oh well, with the money I earned from selling another I buy a red potion of Forming. Ha! Gotcha. It's Shiro, which means yes, it's time for the Garuda stealth section. For some dumb reason, they made fast swimming cost magic and proceeded to not give any refills in the fortress, only to make the relocated Shiro with the stone mask require magic power to trigger. Majora's Mask 3D, why are you like this? I hold on to a sliver of MP and just swim into the fortress slowly for the most part. Very cool when I don't really have that much time to begin with, and my carefully rationed out magic point is used to get the stone mask, which will make my subsequent trip a lot easier. I wanted to go get the bots in the back to check for refills, but as it turns out, in Majora's Mask 3D, that's just a shortcut.
Yeah, I was hyped as well. I've still got my version that has the 1.0 copy.
More than a shortcut, I'll be honest. One hook shot and one egg.
So I can still do,
Let's just leave for now. There's plenty to do still.
what's the fucking name of the glitch called?
Which means I won't be back until the second night at 10 p.m.
That fucking one where you can manipulate memory values.
Time to head over to Snowhead Temple. I soared back to the mountain.
Bottle Adventure, I think it was called.
I already have the lullaby, so yeah.
Not Reverse Bottle Adventure, but it was Bottle Adventure. That's it, yeah, Bottle Adventure. You do an ESS shovel and you could duplicate your bottle contents over an item that's not a bottle, and then you catch hot spring water, and it would like really fuck the game up badly.
Now that I have fire arrows, I jump back down to snipe some torches with them and raise the central pillar.
And that's how they originally were able to beat the game.
Path again, but this time abuse the fact I already have the hookshot by just going zip. Who cares about figuring out what the correct path is when you can have a hookshot, really? Punch the pillars, get all the way to the top, then use a Deku Flare to just jump to the second boss, which is a second whiz row. What a creative dungeon this is. Sure glad they reworked all the main bosses and none of the mid-bosses. The first boss of the run, Masked Mechanical Monster Goat. He has gained a massive eyeball that I must pelt with arrows once he's knocked down.
Reverse Kangaroo Adventure.
In this rework, they basically just added one extra step. I grabbed my prizes and learned the Oath to Order from the first of 4 giants and triumphantly returned spring back to the Snowhead region. 1 out of 4. What time is it? Oh, jeez, it's already 7:25 a.m. After beating Snowhead, my first order of business is to go on a bottle run. So I do the Goron race, which I almost lose. It's definitely harder in this game. What the heck, bro? Then the Beaver race in the Great Bay area, which is awful in this version compared to the original, I won't lie. With 2 more bottles in hand, a quick good time suggest I don't really have any pressing tasks right now. So I figure I should just go take care of Woodfall Temple. That's a pretty short task after all. Quickly fire in the fire arrow in the middle room for later, then fight the mid-boss for the boss key. Pew pew pew, he is down. Thanks to the fire arrow, I can immediately take this boss key to the door it belongs to, and I skip basically half the room by using the hookshot to my advantage again. I don't think they intended for me to use these torches like this, but oh well. Fun fact, I never even picked up nuts until now. This boss change is stupid. Just pelt him with nuts as a Deku and then hit the big eyeball repeatedly. Do that 3 times and victory is yours. What an absurdly lame boss. He doesn't even try swinging his sword. Heart container remains giant. Back to Clocktown. Back in Clocktown, I recorded some of my rupees in case I need them later, then buy a powder keg since I'll be needing that where I'm going next. Yep, it's time for Ikana Canyon. On the way, I also steal a fish from the supermarket and go into the hidden cow grotto to grab the milk. The last 3 requirements I'll need are a Deku Nut, Bomb, and Magic Bead, all of which have been pre-prepared in some way. Enter with the Garo Mask and Hookshot and... I promise this is all intentional. Yeah, let's go with that. So for this next part, we need ice arrows. Psych, just long jump it. Here we are at the Ikana region. First, restoring the river by playing the Song of Storms for a ghost. He goes on a tangent about how I'm not afraid of death and blah 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 blah. I just needed a drink, man. The Gyptos went home to mommy, so I sneak into the house with the stone mask to calmly deal with the last one. Next up, the well. Bean, fish, nut, bomb. Grab a free ghost to take home as a pet, but give it away to the Gyptos. And finally, milk. This gives me both the mirror shield and the entrance to Ikana Castle. I pulled some shenanigans but waste too many arrows, which oops, wizard fight. I guess I'm fighting this one with my hookshot. At the top, I use the powder keg to blast open the ceiling and make my way to the King of Ikana and his 2 stooges. This is probably my least favorite battle in the game, but at least I didn't die. With all that, I learned the Elegy of Emptiness and, well, the Curiosity Shop isn't open yet, and also, I forgot to trigger the Ikana Canyon Owl statue, so time to backtrack through the well. Oops. I managed to climb up to the Stone Tower Temple and get to the Owl statue so I can return here later once I actually go through with the temple itself. I have to actually go back to the Curiosity Shop and clear out that 1 bottle I got. With the gold dust sold, I finally have my 3rd bottle, which means begrudgingly going back to the Gerudo Pirate Fortress, aka...
Got some rain earlier? Oh yeah, nice.
This time though, I brought magic I can use.
Haven't had a bit of rain yet. It's been cloudy, but it hasn't rained yet.
I make my way into the fortress a lot easier, and with the stone mask I picked up earlier, I basically just get to ignore everything. Neat. I have 3 bottles, so I get all 3 remaining eggs in one go. Although on the last one, Link decided he wanted to just catch a fish instead. I'm very happy that I made that in time. Dump the eggs, quick stop at Clocktown again to get 2 green potions so I can keep using magic. Just inject that green potion straight into my veins, thank you. Get through Pinnacle Rock blindly, fry up some ocean noodles, grab the 3 eggs, and drop them off as well. Victory! With the new wave Bossa Nova added to my repertoire, I have access to the remaining 2 dungeons now. First up, Great Bay Temple.
Right, might rain more? Yeah, okay.
Temple to pieces. First on the execution block, the dungeon map room. Normally Normally, you would need ice arrows to get to the room in the back, which allows the red pipe to flow through, but a long jump takes care of that. Once inside the room, I perform a gainer, a quirk of the system that automatically faces Link towards a wall he's close enough to, instead of making him just face it. So if you target the wall again fast enough, it glues him to the wall while backflipping, allowing him to grab the ledge. If this feels too much like cheating to you, you can also use the choo-choo to damage boost onto there as a Goron. Next, a long jump classic to skip getting the boss key. For the next step, I need to start the flow of water in the red pipe in this room. Once again, a long jump takes care of getting there. This trick is overpowered in the Great Bay Temple. Back in the entrance room, I can now use the red pipe to reverse the flow of water.
Did you go outside? Yeah, I went outside for a little bit.
Just go straight to boss door. Skipping getting the ice arrows and doing the rest of the dungeon.
I just went and did some shopping.
Poor Great Bay Temple never stood a chance. Bjork's phase 1 pelted with arrows until he gives up. I also tackle him a little bit with swimming. I struggle a bit like I usually do with phase 2 until it's finally...
Yeah, I've noticed that. It's actually a little bit darker now. Normally by 8 o'clock it's still daylight, but no, it's pretty dark out.
That's it. I can't
Well, darker than normal.
How did I ever beat the 3DS version actually? Moreover, why did I think I could beat it in one cycle? Bjork is defeated at 12:17 p.m., giving me just about 18 hours to finish the game. Final stop, Stone Tower Temple. I've already done the climb, so I can just head straight there. The first part of Stone Tower Temple is just regular gameplay. It takes me a few in-game hours, but, you know, that's Majora's Mask for you. Fight the Garo Master, who is a much better fight than the literal swordsman boss fight in the Dolwa. But then again, so was Arbor Lizalfos in the same dungeon. And he died in one-stick jump slash. Light arrows. Now I should just soar back to the entrance, but for some reason I decided to fight this guy. Well, I'm not missing that much time. Once outside, I flip the temple upside down at almost exactly 6 p.m., giving me 12 hours to close this out. That feels a little scary, so there's still a bit to do. But I do have an ace up my
Wouldn't be bad for winter, actually. I find winter is pretty good.
And it seems like it probably shouldn't work. This allows me to hit the end switch and with some careful timing, damage boost away from whatever this pounding thing is called. I am currently inverting the inverted Stone Tower Temple. I go into the door on the left and into this room full of those very same pounders and die for it. But hey, there's a key. I needed just the one, so that's good. Next, I continue in reverse to fight the final...
Yeah, just some 2-minute noodles and some popcorn. Yeah, probably. I didn't buy energy drinks, but I bought fuel. Ended up filling up my car a little bit.
The shop just closed, so I refill on some stuff in the grass while waiting for the shop to open again. When the shop is open, I enter to see nobody. And
yeah, true. True. Winter can be cold. Or too cold.
Do with the one green potion I still have. Twin mold. This fight is very much a love it or hate it one. The one in the original is frankly too easy and stupid. This one goes the other way of being straight up extremely tedious and janky. There is a pretty good way to take care of it though. Phase 1, just shoot the eyes. You know how this goes? It's a Zelda boss and it's just shooting eyes. I died because the other worm just wouldn't leave me alone, but I restocked on fairies, so that's fine. Second phase, swing your arms from side to side. Come on, it's time to go do the Mario. There are 2 round ball objects. Don't use those just yet. Once you down him using your arms, grab him by the tail. Don't grab him by the head. Pull a Super Mario 64 by spinning the circle path and you'll actually deal slightly more damage. If you do this every time, you only need to spin him 3 times, which is perfect. Since I can now use the 2 round balls, which instantly down the worm, allowing me to quickly spin him to death and secure a victory.
Well, to be honest, I don't know if popcorn is still good or not. Not sure.
These guys, I think I might have temporarily made things worse. 4 hours and 35 minutes to go. I decided to take a trip to Woodfall to take care of a lingering regret. That's right, I haven't forgotten about her. I captured the Deku Princess in a bottle and bring it to the cave, releasing the monkey from getting deep fried. You're welcome, monkey. I just wonder why it still feels like I'm forgetting something.
Hello?
I call forth the Guardians that work extremely hard to save so that they can stop the moon, but of course, Majora is the moon now. I have never been happier to see the inside of the moon. This has been such a stressful journey. Time to close it out. Majora's Mask. Sora boomerangs in the first one. Take care of the remains of the Incarnation, who kind of deals pretty good damage if you let it. And finally, die at least once to Wrath because, of course. Then pelt him with arrows and stab his still a bunch. And with that, this chaotic journey finally ends. A few weeks ago, I couldn't believe I finally beat the challenge I've been wanting to do for years. And now, I beat the extreme difficulty edition of that very same challenge. Would I recommend doing this challenge? If you like suffering, sure. Otherwise, maybe steer clear from it. Just remember, Rani will still be sword, so keep that in mind. Thank you so much for watching. This turned out a bit longer than the last one, since there was just that much more to talk about. And I hope to see you in the next video.
Hello, I hope you're having a great day, my friend. Hello, Sayura. How are you, my friend? Yeah, true, but I've got the lately I've been getting into the sweet and salty one. Alright, let's see what else we can watch. Let's watch Pen and Coke video.
Scope, like the focus is just one star. You may have heard of the A button challenge, in which you try to collect stars using as few A presses as possible. Well, today we're going to take a trip down memory lane.
Yeah, no good. Yeah, fair enough.
Into one of my favorite A press saves, getting onto the tower in Whomp's Fortress. So let's dive in. So here's the course Whomp's Fortress. At the top of the course is a tower, and at the top of the tower is a star. So how many A presses does it take to reach that star? Well, let me show you. Here's a task I made that climbs up the course from the start. This task isn't going to do any crazy tricks because we're just trying to see which parts of the level seem like they require an A press. For the most part, the level's pretty easy because we can just use rollouts to get past everything, including getting up these steps with the help of the slope on the side. We can get past the piranha plant, the falling blocks, the narrow bridge, the rotating bridge. I mean, it is only the second level, so they're not exactly giving us the hardest of obstacles at this point in the game. But now we do get to our first real challenge, getting on these revolving elevators. Luckily though, there's a Whomp nearby, and he's exactly what we would have needed to get past this part. So we lure the Whomp over, have him fall down, get on top of him, and then it's pretty simple to go from the top of his head onto the elevator, allowing us to get up. Now there's a bullet bill here, but that's pretty simple to get past. And now we're finally at the tower. But as you can see, a rollout doesn't go high enough to get onto the tower's first platform. So unfortunately, we do need an A press to get onto it. Once we're on a tower platform though, it's pretty easy to keep climbing our way up. We can either do rollouts or ledge grabs. And note that the tower platforms alternate between being stationary and moving in and out. That is, until you get to the last one, which functions as an elevator that brings you straight up. From there, we can do a rollout to get onto the top of the tower, and then do another rollout to get the star. Also note that there's a teleporter in the level that can move you farther along, so that can possibly save time. And there's this slope that we can climb up and get onto the elevator from there. So that could also speed us up. But the issue remains, how can we get onto the tower? As we just saw, along the whole path from start to finish, getting onto the tower is the one part that requires an A press. And I'm not alone in thinking that. If we look at the A button challenge records on SM64.com from decades ago, we see that every submission at the time had done this star in one A press, both in a task setting and a real-time setting. So this conundrum existed for many years before I came onto the scene. Would I be the one to finally solve it? Well, as you may know, I posted my own records for how many A presses each star takes. And even I posted a video in 2013 of me getting the star in one A press. And of course, that one A press was to get onto the tower. Now, interestingly, I had also posted a video showing how the star could be done in 0.5 A presses, specifically by using an A press to hold on to the owl and riding him up to the star. But how is this 0.5 A presses and not just 1 A press? Well, in case you don't know, half A presses are a special notation I use, popularized by my video Watch for Rolling Rocks in 0.5 A presses. But this star in Whomp's Fortress was done years before that video. The 0.5 indicates that you go into a star with the A button already held down. So the strat does use the A button, but it doesn't incur its own A press in a full game run because it can just leech off of a previous A press in the run. For example, we could first get the slide star, which requires an A press to jump up to it, then continue holding A between levels and use that same A press to ride the owl in Whomp's Fortress. So while these two stars both require an A press individually, they could actually just share one A press if we continue holding A from one to the other. So the half A press notation does capture a real aspect of saving A presses, but it actually doesn't work in this case specifically due to the way that the different mission layouts are set up. You see, when you enter the course, there are 6 missions to choose from, and which one you select affects the layout of the course. So here, the first mission has King Whomp at the top of the fortress, while the second mission and onwards has the tower at the top. The tower star itself is the second mission, but the owl is only available starting on the third mission. So in the full game run, the owl isn't available until after you've already collected the tower star. In other words, the owl can only help you get the star after you've already gotten it once, hence why the star was blue. And note that there's no way to cheat the system by collecting a later star and then selecting that later mission. The game still knows to only give you the last mission layout that you unlocked legitimately. For example,
Fucking shave downstairs and fucking itchy.
Hover on the third star in the menu, even though I didn't collect stars 1 or 2. But even though I select the third mission, the game still gives me mission 1's layout, which doesn't have the owl. So yeah, this particular 0.5 A press strat didn't make a whole lot of sense since it wouldn't even work in a full game run. The owl just can't help you get the star the first time. We need something else. So for about a year, from 2013 to 2014, that's where the record stood. I had tied the 1 A press strat that everyone else had done and was content to leave it at that. But then something changed everything. Tyler Caney came into the scene and introduced some new glitches that would end up becoming instrumental in the A button challenge going forward. First, there was the Star Dance clip. This is where you get a star, which then lets you ledge grab as you fall down. Like normally,
Itchy as fuck later, yeah, I know.
but if you do a rollout,
Should have just gone for one of those.
can ledge grab,
Was it? There's a brand called Nads for Men or something like that.
Conservation. This is where you do a rollout that lands
It's
early
like
so
a
that you still have your upward speed stored.
a
Then you can
hair
concentrate
remover
forward,
or something.
which means you move while preserving the vertical speed.
Should have done that.
You can't walk because that would cause you to lose it. Now, if you punch your way off a ledge and become airborne, the vertical speed deactivates and lets you free fall upwards for a bit. And that's more useful than doing a rollout because while in free fall,
Only reason why I did it was because it was getting a bit too fucking,
above on a unit grid scale. Now this blue
big,
area
you
is
know.
actually where you can stand on the floor. Instead, because floor detection truncates Mario's position, it's this area that you can stand on, which is 1 unit bigger than the floor on the sides that face away from the origin. And now
Same shit, still itches, yeah, okay.
Alright. 1 unit square of floor
I'm
that
not
lies
safe from
outside
it
of
then.
the wall hitboxes. We call that unit square of floor a misalignment, and it's useful because it lets Mario reach the floor without getting pushed away by the walls. For example,
Oh,
this box is
fucking
too
hell.
high to get onto by doing a rollout into the edge because the walls block us. But if we do a rollout into the misalignment in the corner, then we actually can
True.
step up onto the floor without the walls blocking us. So the Star Dance clip, vertical speed conservation, and misalignments. Tyler popularized these 3 techniques for helping in the A button challenge, and that changed everything. Because platforms that were too high before might now have a way of getting onto them. We had more tools at our disposal, so there was more analysis to do. This wasn't like today when the
I was just 'cause I was so fat, I just wanted to get everything away
when we were still learning all the
and
glitches.
it actually,
It was the Wild West of the A button
Yeah.
challenge, where anyone could contribute if they had enough perseverance, and that was me.
Get
I
it
was
clean.
using these new tools to solve the
like
challenge
clean,
once and for all.
not just
But
clean,
even
like
with
I
these
mean
new
like
tools,
clean,
it wasn't
clean.
clear what the best way to use them was. My
'Cause I
first
happened to
idea
be,
was to try to use them to get onto the
meeting
first
up with a
platform
chick,
of the
so I was
tower,
like, oh
since,
fuck
you
it, I
know,
might as
it
well
is the
show it.
lowest platform, so in theory it should be
In case
the
I
easiest
get
to reach.
any
Concerning
action, and
vertical speed
of course,
conservation, even if we could get vertical speed.
No action happened.
It wouldn't help. There's just no way to reactivate the vertical speed here because you need a ledge for that. And the platform is so high that
Well, me by a girl, I meant my girl. With at the moment.
But what about the star dance clip? Could we even spawn a 100 coin star over here? Well,
So I was planning on going and saying to her, oh, why don't you stick your hand down my pants?
It produces coins, which we can use to spawn a 100 coin star. But unfortunately, Mario still doesn't get onto the platform. He's just 36 units too low. Now, when Mario collects a star, he actually falls with lower gravity. That means the earlier we grab the star during the rollout, the higher Mario ends up going. So in theory,
Yeah, that's it. That's the one.
If the star were lower down and we collected it earlier, but the star spawns above Mario, so how could we possibly move it lower? Well, there is a way. What we can do is
oh, my washing's done.
Right where we want the future star to be. That sets the hope there, which is a point stored in memory of the last place we held an object. Then collect.
And I bet you feel nuts. What is it? Yes, Frisco. Yes, Cisco. Okay, something. You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, but I bet you we do it on the Discovery Channel.
Now we can release the 100 coin star
You and
remotely
me,
at the hope
baby,
we set
ain't
earlier.
nothing like
So when we
mammals,
go
but
back
let's
up,
do
we can
it,
see
let
the
it
star
do
clone
it
there,
on
now at
Discovery
ground
Channel.
level. So now we can collect the star on the first frame of the rollout, which lets Mario go just a bit higher up. But unfortunately, it's still not high enough. This time Mario's 21 units short. Here's a side-by-side of the two straps. If we
You got a dryer too? No, I don't actually. I don't have a dryer, unfortunately. So I just gotta hang it up. I use the tripod to hang my clothes up. Or I use the fucking thing that have the clothes dryer, the clothes rack.
Well, getting onto the bullet bill block is actually fairly easy. We can just spawn a 100 coin star next to it and then get up with a star dance clip. So we're already halfway there, but how do we get from here to the tower? One idea I had was to do a rollout. The problem though is that the bullet bill block is very small and hard to work with. I mean, this attempt didn't even manage to land a dive back on the block, so the rollout started on the floor below. Let me illustrate what I mean. Let's say hypothetically, the bullet bill block were a lot bigger, but not any closer or higher up. Then it would actually be quite easy to roll out from the block to the tower because we have room for a good setup. But the normal size of the block doesn't allow for that. Something we can do though is dive grind along the edge to build up some speed and then do a rollout towards the platform. But it's not at a very good angle, so I couldn't get it to work. I also tried aiming at the corner, but I couldn't get that to work either. But watch this. If we pause time and then hack Mario...
Yes, I'm Cisco. Yes, I'm Ebert. And you're getting 2 thumbs up. Yeah, that's it.
I also tried doing a dive on the back of the block, sliding forwards, and then doing
it's a good song, actually.
Tower. That gives a better angle, but it loses so much speed in the process that it doesn't work either. Another idea I had was what if we could bring a cork box onto the bullet bill block with us? Then we can put it down and it disappears after 30 seconds. Right before that though, we can run directly into it, giving us speed and a good angle, and then we can dive as soon as the box disappears. But unfortunately, the dive goes too far and overshoots the block. Now another thing I considered was what if we threw the box into ourselves to propel us forward, ground pound to rise up a little more, and hope the box pushes us onto the platform. But sadly, I couldn't get it to work. Plus, it wasn't clear if we could even get a cork box on top of the bullet bill block. I also considered throwing the box from a really high up pulp to give us some setup time. Then we can quickly get on top of the block using a star dance clip, and then do a rollout right as the box comes down and pushes us. But as you may have guessed, I couldn't get that to work either. Plus, we probably couldn't legitimately achieve a hole that high up. I had just hacked it.
Ah, okay, so that's what it is.
Now another thing I realized is that a star dance clip will let us get from the bullet bill block to the tower. The only problem is that we're already using up the 100 coin star to get onto the bullet bill block. So yeah, both getting onto the bullet bill block and getting onto the tower platform can be done with a 100 coin star. But we only have one 100 coin star, so we can't use it for both. So how about this? We'll save the 100 coin star for getting onto the platform and then do something else to get onto the bullet bill block. But how else can we get onto it? It's too high up to get onto using a misalignment. But what about vertical speed conservation? Well, we can store vertical speed here using the elevator, punch our way towards the bullet bill block, but then we get hit by a bullet bill on our way over there, which zeroes out our vertical speed. But the idea is not completely dead.
Do you have a blue sky? Isn't blue sky just like X?
Box to deflect bullet bills before they reach us. So hypothetically, let's say we did manage to bring vertical speed over here. Would it even help? Well, we can reactivate the vertical speed, but the bullet bill block is too high to ledge grab onto. We can also try going into the misalignment and ground pounding, but that ends up falling off. That's because the bullet bill block
X
is
with it.
tangible when you're within
X without the incels. Okay, interesting.
Reason, the block's radius is so small that it doesn't even enclose the top corners. So even if we
I was on Twitter the other day and I
snap onto the corner, the bullet bill block just instantly becomes intangible and we fall off. So my attempts to
I was looking through this page on Albanese's fucking X page, and it's talking about women's health, saying, oh, you know, women who have pelvic pain, we're now going to put in $150 million to help support women in their pelvic pain. And I ended up saying in one of the comments, I was like, oh, what about men as well? It's not all just about women. You know, I have psoriatic arthritis and I can't walk anymore, and I'm spending so much money on fucking medical fucking things. You're a cunt, and I wish that you'd fucking, you know, leave yourself as Prime Minister and go, you know, and fuck off. And, you know, as I just put the fries in the bag, bro, and go. And I got like fucking like 2,500 likes or something like that, like 2.5k likes, and like several comments from people going, I agree. You know, it shouldn't just be about women's health, it should also be about men's health as well, and men's pelvic pain, and you know, it's not just women who have pelvic pain as well, it's men as well, you know. So
you can do as follows. Grab a cork box and put it on something like the blue coin block, then move away from the blue coin block so that it becomes intangible. That way the cork box falls inside of it. Now if we go close again, the blue coin block becomes tangible and breaks the cork box. In other words, we can break the cork box on command. So
why is this video so slow? I don't know. It's...
For 30 seconds, the cork box disappears from inactivity. And if we break it right on the frame when it disappears, then we get the coins from...
Well, no, Albo's fucked us, mate. So it's all his fault that we have to pay so much in terms of the cost of living.
Coin count would continue to grow. When we reach 100 coins, it spawns 100 coin stars.
I don't like Albo. I wish he'd fuck off.
Well, on the US version of the game, the coin count caps out at 999. On the Japanese version, though, there's a bug where the coin count doesn't cap out. It can go beyond 999, which gives you negative 25 lives. Then around 32,000, the coin count actually overflows, becoming negative. From here on, the HUD doesn't even show the true coin count. And then after about 65,000 total coins, we hit 100 coins again, spawning a second 100 coin star. And so if we have 200 coin stars to work with, then we could use one to get onto the bullet bill block and use the other to get onto the tower. Easy, right? Well, while this plan would work in theory, I did not want to task all of that. I had calculated that collecting 65,000 coins this way would have made the task 10 days long. You thought 12 hours was a ridiculous time for a strat? Imagine 10 days. And back then, we didn't have good brute forcing tools that could have automated everything, so it would have had to have been tasked manually. So yeah, I had come up with a theoretical strat that would solve the tower, but I just didn't want to task it. Instead, I decided to keep brainstorming ideas because I just knew there had to be a simpler way. So to recap, getting onto the first platform was a dead end. And going from the bullet bill block to the second platform was also a dead end. But what about the third platform? This one's even higher, but it is
Really?
relatively close to
I
the
don't know that
elevators.
Pepper's thing
And
that's
the
that
elevators
as well.
do go pretty high.
Although
up,
if he
and
fixes
around the
Medicare,
top
then
of the
that'll be
cycle.
good.
So
But
could we go from the elevator?
no, I don't want to talk about
Well, the
politics.
first thing I
Let's
tried
just
was
let's
throwing
just
the
forget
box
about
into myself
politics.
in the hopes that a start and would get me
Let's
up.
just
But it didn't seem to
let's
be
just
high
forget
enough.
about it.
I also
You know,
tried
let's
throwing the box
pretend
from
that
a
we
high-up
didn't
hole to give me extra
didn't hear
time
anything
and
about
do a
me
rollout
complaining
as the
about
box
Albanese.
pushes me. But that also wasn't high enough. But then I did the unthinkable. I threw the box into myself again, but this time with hacked-in vertical speed. And you know what? That actually did make it up, but it used hacks. So the question was there a way to do the same thing legitimately without any hacks? Well, that's when I came up with the real solution. Throw the box from a high-up pole to give me some setup time, then do a rollout on the side of the elevator to store vertical speed, and then the box pushes me off, reactivates the vertical speed, I ground pound to go even
Yeah,
higher,
right,
and then
okay.
do a start ends clip to get onto the platform. And so finally, after all those ideas, I had found one that seemed like it would work. And I say seemed because there still were a few details to iron out, and that's because the hope I used for that was just hacked in. But to do it legitimately, we first need to set that hope somewhere, and then second, we need to get into position on top of the fortress with the box while preserving that hope. So let's start with the second one. Specifically, let's say we enter the course with the hope already set
Fair
high
enough,
up in the
Dave.
air. We then have to bring the cork box all the way up the course, and we have to do it without updating the hope so that the hope stays high up in the air. But that's a little tricky. You see, if we're allowed to update the hope, bringing up a cork box is
Oh, you don't have
easy.
to. You can
Grab
stay
it,
if you want,
carry it
Dave.
up the course, but then we get to the elevators, which is the only hard part. But what we can do is put the box down, dive onto the womp with it, go onto his head, and then fall onto the elevator from there. So not too difficult, but if we're not allowed to update the hope, then we can only carry the box with the hat in hand glitch active. That doesn't seem like much of an issue until you get back to the elevators, because now we can't temporarily put the box down to help us get it onto the womp. Specifically, the box appears elsewhere when we release it because the hope is still really high up in the air. So that's the critical issue. When we release the box, it appears elsewhere, and then we can't retrieve it. Now, could we somehow climb to the top without having to temporarily put down the box? It's difficult because we can't do much while we're carrying it. Like in the A button challenge, we're already limited because we can't press A to jump. But while carrying the box, we're even more limited than usual because now we can't dive or roll out. All we can do is walk along the ground. So getting onto the womp just isn't possible. I also considered falling off of this slope and trying to get onto the elevator.
Nah, it's
from there,
alright,
but I
Dave.
couldn't manage to get it. Note that earlier when I did it, I wasn't holding an object, and so I was allowed to dive. But now, since I'm holding something, I can't dive, and so I don't make it. So we tried climbing to the top while holding the box the whole time, but that doesn't work. Instead, we are going to have to release the box, which will let Mario get up, and then we'd have to somehow get the box back. Now, interestingly, there are actually two different ways to release an object at the hole. First, we can throw the box, which causes it to appear directly at the hope and move forwards with the momentum from the throw. So based on that, I tried throwing the box onto the top of the fortress, climbing up as fast as I could, and then trying to retrieve it before it fell off. Unfortunately, though, we're just not fast enough to get to it in time. And the second way to release an object is to drop it, which causes the box to appear at the hope laterally, but at Mario's current height. And the box doesn't move forwards when you drop it, it just falls straight down. Now, since the box's drop position depends on Mario's height, I found that we can climb up this slope and then drop the box. That causes the box to appear higher up, though it still ends up falling off. But the box does end up relatively close to this arrow platform. So, let's say we moved the hope over to be laterally aligned with the arrow platform. Now when we drop the box from the top of the slope, it lands on top of the arrow platform and stays there. That allows Mario to climb to the top himself and get to the box before it disappears. And from there, we can drop onto the womp, ride him over, then drop onto the elevator and bring the box to the top. So that issue's resolved. We can in fact bring the box into position while preserving the hope high up in the air. But the other question is, how do we even achieve a hope that high up? Remember, the hope is the last place we held an object. So to achieve that hope, we'd have to hold an object really high up. But luckily, we don't have to do this within Mom's Fortress. Instead, we can set the hope in any course and it stays preserved between levels. And so after considering different levels, I decided that Bob on Battlefield would be the course to do it in. And that's because it has a really high mountain that's close to the desired hope, and we could place down Goomba clones to get the rest of the way there. And so with that last detail figured out, I was ready to task the final product. And that's exactly what I did in a video I posted on March 11th, 2015. So let's walk through it. I started out in Bob on Battlefield. I constructed a Goomba staircase to set the hope high up in the air. Then I exited out and entered Whomp's Fortress. In there, I collected 99 coins. Then I did the strat we talked about to bring a box to the top. But not for the final throw. This box was for spawning the 100 coin star next to the tower. And now that the star was in place, I did the same thing with the other box to bring it to the top. And then finally, I threw the box into myself, stored vertical speed, ground pounded, and did a star dance clip to get onto the tower. Look at that maneuver. Simply beautiful. After all those failed ideas, it felt so good to actually have one succeed. And from there, it was a simple matter of climbing the rest of the tower and then getting the star. So yeah, that's how we first got the tower star in 0 A presses. Now in the A button challenge, our primary goal is to reduce the number of A presses. But as a secondary goal, we also like to reduce the time that a strat takes. You know, do it as fast as possible. So years after the original strat, I found an improvement. Remember when I said it was impossible to bring the box from the slope to the elevator? Well, it turned out there was a way. See, here's the slope. There's a floor on the left and a wall on the right. The wall's hitbox extends out on both sides and is a little lower down than the wall triangle itself. So as you can see, the wall hitbox sticks out above the floor, and if you touch that part, you instantly get pushed off of the slope. That essentially splits the floor into two pieces. So we have the big triangle chunk on the left that we've been using up to this point, but we also have a little skinny path on the right that we haven't used at all. And the top part of that skinny path is the key to getting up, because it lets you slide downhill into the wall hitbox. So watch, we go on the skinny path, climb up to the top, slide down into the wall hitbox, get pushed off while in a butt slide, bounce on the ground, and then land on the elevator. That means we no longer need to drop the box as an intermediate step. Instead, we can climb up the whole stage while carrying the box. And if we don't need to drop the box anymore, then we can place the hope in a better spot, because the previous hope had two constraints. Throwing the box from that hope had to land on the elevator, and dropping the box from that hope had to land on the aero platform. But now we no longer need to drop the box onto the aero platform, so there's just one constraint. That means we can move the hope closer to the elevator and farther down, which will be easier to achieve. Because previously, we needed 4 layers of Goomba clones to achieve the hope. But now that it's lower, we can do it with one Goomba, a bowling ball clone, and a bloated Bob-omb, which is a lot faster to set up. And once we have that hope, we can carry the box to the top of the stage without having to drop it, do the throw, and get onto the tower using the star. Note that the timing for the maneuver is a lot tighter now, but it still works. So that was one optimization, but then we had a breakthrough that changed everything. Found by Iver Sanch. It turns out you actually can do a rollout from the bullet bill block to the second platform, specifically by getting into a misalignment in the corner. So that idea that I tried years earlier, it turned out to be possible the whole time. So what was the new insight that led to this breakthrough? Well, it has to do with how walls work. So consider a box as seen from above. It has 4 walls whose hitboxes extend out like this. Seems normal, but what happens if the box is at an angle? What do the wall hitboxes do? You might think they'd look like this and just extend out perpendicularly to the walls, but that's not right. Instead, every wall hitbox extends out either perfectly along the X direction or perfectly along the Z direction, whichever is closer to being perpendicular. So consider a diagonal wall like this and like this. Like I said, their hitboxes do not extend out perpendicularly. That's wrong. Instead, the left one's hitbox would extend out perfectly horizontally, and the right one's hitbox would extend out perfectly vertically. So the hitboxes end up shaped like parallelograms. But even though the shape is a little wonky, the direction that the hitbox pushes Mario is still exactly perpendicular to the wall. So don't get that mixed up. So So going back to the box, this is what it looks like when it rotates. It looks a bit weird, doesn't it? You can see that each wall hitbox extends out either horizontally or vertically and does a sudden snap to the other one when it crosses 45 degrees. But now let's say the wall was oriented at a 45-degree angle, like the tower platform in Womp's Fortress. Now even the slightest movement of the platform can change whether the walls project in the X direction or the Z direction, because they're right on the bound between the two directions, and that changes which corners are open and closed. For example, at this moment, the corner on the left is open, like there's a gap in the wall hitboxes there, while the corner on the right is closed, there's no gap. But a little later in the movement, it's different, as now the left corner is closed and the right corner is open. So that's what's going on with the platform on the tower. It's at a 45-degree angle, so the wall hitboxes constantly fluctuate between the X and Z directions. So sometimes the corners are open and sometimes they're closed. And we can only get into a misalignment on an open corner. So the breakthrough came when Eva examined the exact fluctuations of the walls and found that the corner was open on the frames when the platform was closest to us. And so that just barely lets us get into the misalignment. Now with that improvement, Eva and Fifth Dispense were able to test the whole strat in 1 minute and 43 seconds, which was later optimized to 1 minute and 41 seconds, and then to 1 minute and 32 seconds. So now, let's watch the whole strat to see the star's final form. So we actually start out in Cool Mountain because first we have to set the hole. Not for throwing the box into ourselves, but for a different strat that'll save time. More on that later. And note that this is all part of a full game run, so it makes the most sense to set the hole using the baby penguin during the snowman race. Because we're waiting for the snowball to roll down the course anyway, so doing it this way doesn't cost any time. Now skipping ahead to later in the run, let's see what happens in Womp's Fortress. Now I'm not going to do any cuts or fast forwards, because I want to show you just how fast the whole star is, and how stylish it can be. So first, we have to collect 100 coins, so that we can do a star dance clip. And look at that, we can use misalignments to climb up the big steps super fast. And you're not going to believe this, it turns out you can go from the steep slope straight to the top. No butt slide, no elevators, just going straight up. That allows us to quickly get to the islands in the sky so that we can collect the coins from them. Then we come down here to get even more coins and kill that piranha plant. We'll get his blue coin in a second. And now we actually do a slide kick bounce to get above the blue coin block, ground pound it, and then get the blue coins. Now remember that piranha plant we killed like 10 seconds ago? Well, there's his blue coin. That's right, we got good RNG so that the coin would just come over to us later on our path. And with these, we have enough coins now. So next, we throw the cork box to the top of the course using a glitch called Behind Camera Anywhere. For that glitch, you lock the camera in place, go behind it so that Mario doesn't get rendered, and then you can throw objects without updating the hole. And that glitch is faster than the hat in hand glitch because 1, we don't even have the metal cap unlocked at this point in the run, and 2, doing the hat in hand glitch just takes a while. And then when we go back up, there's a coin there for us to spawn a 100 coin star and do a star dance clip onto the bullet bill block. But where'd that coin come from? Well, here's another view of what happened. You can see the hulk there, and the box came out of the hulk when we threw it remotely. Now the box goes over the edge and breaks, releasing some coins. And thanks to good RNG, that one coin goes the exact direction we needed. That lets us collect it right next to the bullet bill block, spawn the 100 coin star, and then do a star dance clip to get up. Now once we're on the bullet bill block, we can do a rollout into the misalignment, and then we're on the tower. From there, we can do rollouts to climb up the platforms, ledge grab on the last one to trigger it a little sooner, and then finally get the star. And that's the fastest way to get this star in 0 A presses. So to recap, first we got onto the tower using the box bounce on the elevator, then we got onto the tower by going into the misalignment from the bullet bill block. But what if I told you there was actually a third way to get onto the tower? In fact, a way easy enough that even a person could do it in real time. Let me explain. So something we can do in the game is clone one of these falling blocks. We can then go onto the falling block that we cloned and release it as it's falling down and rotating. What ends up happening is that Mario receives rotational displacement from the falling block, but from the new location that he threw it to. This is a trick called platform release displacement. But notably, if we use the hat and hands glitch to throw the falling block farther away, then we can get a bigger displacement because the displacement is proportional to Mario's distance away from the block. Let me illustrate this principle with this rotating platform. If we stand near the platform's point of rotation, Mario doesn't get moved very much. Now if he stands farther away from that point, then he gets moved a lot more. And that's because the rotational displacement each frame is proportional to how far away Mario is from the point of rotation. So let's say hypothetically, Mario could stand on the platform from really far away. Now he gets rotated at a pretty insane pace. It's still the same rotational speed, but now it has to cover a much larger circumference in the same time frame. So yeah, a normal rotation has a huge effect on faraway points. And so that's the idea going on here. The falling block rotates Mario because he's standing on it, and then if we throw it really far away, he still receives rotational displacement for one more frame, but now it's magnified by a huge amount. And if that amount is big enough and aimed correctly, we can use it to teleport right onto the tower. It almost looks fake, just teleporting from the bridge to the tower, but I assure you, it's a real strat. And if we zoom out even more, you can see where the block ended up, at the very bottom of the course near the death barrier. And this strat was first done in real time by Ivan782. So first he used the baby penguin to send the hope all the way on the edge of the course really far down. Then he cloned the falling block, walked onto it, threw it, and made it onto the tower. And so that was the first time anyone ever got the star in 0A presses without task tools. Then later, Trek was able to do it too, and Marbler was also able to pull it off.
Let's go. All right. Now I just need to not mess this up.
And so that's the story of the Womp's Fortress Tower. For decades, it had been stuck at 1A press. But as the community learned more glitches and pooled their knowledge together, we reduced it to 0A presses. We got it down to only a few minutes, and it's now doable by a person in real time. And so I think it's fair to say the Womp's Fortress Tower has been conquered. And now for this video's member event. In case you don't know, at the end of all my regular videos, all the members of my channel participate in a member event. And it should come as no surprise that this member event will be...
Just stop the bombardment.
Say please.
Please. No, I can't pretend to understand. Not for a second. But I want you to know I'm innocent in all this. He made me John Smith. It's not like I had any control over it.
He didn't just make himself human. He made himself an idiot.
I don't care about this doctor and your family. I just want you to go. So I've made my choice. You can have him.
Last family of mine, now we shall have the lives of a Time Lord.
It's empty. Where's it gone? You tell me.
I think the explanation might be you've been fooled by a simple olfactory misdirection. It's an elementary trick in some parts of the galaxy, but it has got to be said. I don't like the look of that hydrochronometer. Or, because if there's one thing you shouldn't have done, you shouldn't have let me press all those buttons. But, in fairness, I will give you one word of advice. Run. Get out! Get out! Just...
Alright. What else is there?
In Super Mario 64, there's a star in Cool Mountain that goes as follows. You enter the cabin at the top of the mountain, go all the way down the slide, and then exit from the cabin at the bottom of the mountain. And that spawns the star for you to collect. But something everyone always tries is going back into the door. find out that doesn't work. And let me tell you, as a kid, I really wanted to get back in there. I mean, we were just in there, but the idea of a door that you can't open from this side just made me want to open it that much more. And so let me clarify something. For most doors in the game, opening them just takes you from one side of the door to the other. And so if you clip through the door, like by getting pushed by an object, then you can bypass the door. But some doors are special, because opening them unloads the current area and warps you to a new area. If you clip through this kind of door, you don't actually go to the new area. Instead, you just end up in a sort of fake area behind the door. In other words, the only way to load the new area is to literally open the door, because that triggers the transition between areas. Now, the door in Cool Cool Mountain is the kind that loads a new area. See, opening it unloads the slide area and loads the outside area. Now, since there are two different areas involved, there are two different door objects involved. There's one door in the slide area that warps you outside. Everyone's opened that door before. And there's one door that's outside that warps you back into the slide, but no one's ever opened that door before. So to emphasize, this is actually a fully functional door, despite that it was given a special model that doesn't have a doorknob on the outside. So the reason you can't open the door from the outside is not because the door doesn't work, but simply because the cabin wall blocks you from getting close enough to the door to open it. As you can see on the right, the wall triangles cover the whole side of the cabin without any opening for the door. But if the walls were gone, as I've done with the hacks, then we could get close enough to the door to open it and re-enter the cabin. That raises the question, can we open the door without any hacks? Well, going back to the door, let's look at it from above. Here are the floor triangles around the cabin. Note that there are no floor triangles inside the cabin. Here's the door's hitbox, so if Mario walks into that hitbox, he opens the door. And to emphasize, he must be walking to open the door. No other action works. And then here's the cabin wall and its hitbox. If Mario enters that hitbox, he gets pushed south. So the door's hitbox basically has two parts to it. The south part that's inside the wall hitbox, and the north part that's not inside the wall hitbox, but it's in the air. Remember, for Mario to open the door, he has to walk into the door hitbox, but that's seemingly impossible for both parts of the hitbox for different reasons. For the south part of the hitbox, if Mario tries to walk into it, the wall pushes him away to the south. This wall push happens every time he moves forwards, and so he's not able to be inside the door's hitbox when the game checks if he's touching it. And for the north part of the hitbox, it is possible to get there. See, we can deliver the baby penguin to the mother penguin, and then re-grab the baby penguin to make the mother penguin get mad at us and follow us around. And the mother penguin has a hitbox that pushes Mario outwards. So we can use the mother penguin's hitbox to push Mario through the cabin wall and into the door hitbox. But even though he touches the north part of the hitbox, he still doesn't open the door because he's in free fall, not in the walking action. So the door seems impossible to open. And that's what everyone believed for 28 years. Until April 22nd, 2024, when Alex Palix posted this video on Discord. He had found a way to do it, but how does it work? Well, we already knew you could use the mother penguin to clip behind the wall. But of course, since there's no floor there, that puts Mario into free fall, and you can't open doors in free fall, only when walking. So to solve this, Alex Palix did a turnaround. See, there's an interesting thing about the turning around action, which I've explained in a previous video, and that's what actually gave Alex the idea to use it to open the cabin door. But I'll explain it again now. So when Mario turns around, he goes into the turning around action. And then a bit later, he transitions into the walking action because he finished turning around. Here's the code for the turning around action, and here's the relevant logic. So when Mario finishes turning around, he goes into the walking action. But a bit earlier, we have the code that handles his movement. This one says, if Mario leaves the ground, put him into the free fall action. So the issue is that the programmers never expected these two conditions to happen on the same frame. If they do, then the logic goes like this. First, Mario left the ground, so he goes into the free fall action. And then second, Mario finished turning around, and so he goes into the walking action. So that first action change gets overwritten by the second action change. And so even though Mario left the ground, he still ends up in the walking action. Now this exploit by itself just results in one frame of walking in midair before transitioning to free fall on the next frame. But that one frame of walking in the air is all we needed, and that was enough to open the door. Let's play it again. On this frame, the mother penguin's hitbox pushes Mario through the wall and into the air. And also on that frame, Mario finished turning around. So first his action got set to free fall, and then his action got set to walking. And since he's now walking inside the door's hitbox, he opens the door. And you'll notice that Mario downwarps to the death barrier when he opens the door, because Mario's programmed to step down to the floor every frame when he's in the door opening action. But fortunately, the death barrier doesn't kill him because it has no effect when Mario's in a cutscene action like opening a door. Now, one question that this brings up is, does this technique save time in a run? After all, if we can enter the cabin at the bottom, then we can just exit from there and get the star, skipping the whole slide. So let's do a side-by-side comparison. On the left, I'm showing the current strat for the star, which involves entering the cabin at the top of the level, going all the way down, and then exiting from the cabin at the bottom of the level to get the star. And on the right, I'm showing the potential new strat for the star, which involves going into the cabin at the bottom of the level and then immediately exiting to get the star. But even in this new strat, we still have to spend time going to the bottom of the course. And then there's the whole process of interacting with the mother penguin and luring her into place. And interestingly, triggering the star this way actually messes up the camera during the star's cutscene, though that doesn't cause any trouble. And so in conclusion, even though we can use this technique to skip the whole slide, it doesn't actually save any time. But regardless, it is pretty cool that Super Mario 64's unopenable door has now finally been opened. And now, for this video's member event. In case you missed it from my last video, all my regular videos from now on are going to have a member event at the end, where all the member names participate in the event. Now last time, there were only 13 members, but this time, let's just say we have quite a few more, over 200. So thanks everyone, it really does mean a lot to me that you guys are so willing to support me. And if all goes well, this can become my full-time job. So if you're not a member and you want to get in on the action, you can click on the join button below the video or the link in the description. It's sort of like subscribing to someone on Twitch where you pay them a little money each month. The lowest tier is $5, but you can pay a little more to get more perks, like a colored name, a gradient name, a moving gradient name, or for me to call out your name. And like I said, each member event will be different. This time, I turned everyone into 3D marbles. So welcome everyone, glad you could make it. Haven't seen you in a while. Hey, nice to meet you. Yo, what's up? How's your life been going? Long time no see. Now the rules are simple. You guys are all going to be rolling down the slide. If you fall off the slide, you die. Also, the shortcut is off limits. And so basically, the first person to cross the finish line wins. So, does everybody understand the rules? You, my good sir, Mr. Lunar Complex. May I call you Lunar? Okay, Mr. Complex. Do you understand the rules? Yeah, sorry, I was just still thinking about the door. It was pretty cool. Oh, okay. I'll keep that in mind. But let's try our best in the race, okay? And so without any further ado, let's begin. Okay, off to a good start. In the back, there's a mad dash to get out of the cabin and squeeze through that tiny opening. But it looks like everybody made it onto the slide. Oof, we already lost our first person, Owlbag. And there goes another one. Man, you guys are ruthless. Is winning really worth pushing your fellow competitors off the edge? Yes, yes it is. And now for the first turn of the slide. You guys are doing pretty good so far, no casualties. Oh, there they go. We lost Shauna, Eric Vilas, Mangomans. It's just
Clavicula, what's that?
We also lost Crixium 1998 and Apollo 220. And remember, that was just the first turn. There's way more turns to come on the slide. Now we've lost Kyle Fluharty, Kadax, Cubic, Hannah, Chilaxel, Sean Glaze, Lugmalord, Rageman, Some Kind of Taco, and Fat Goomba. Man, there is some aggression going on at the back of the group. I mean, I know you guys want to win, but can't you have a little more decorum like the front of the group? It's like ripples of collision propagating backwards. Now we've lost the bros. I guess you guys weren't his bro. And there goes Chase T. Now a couple more turns coming up. Can you guys handle it? Let's see. Pushing each other off on the far side of the slide. And now we've lost Dalton Zanola. Gone, but not forgotten. But forget about them. We're on the final stretch of the slide, down to the elite few. And now the even eliter few. Now this part of the slide is pretty straight, so it seems like you guys are maintaining an uneasy truce to not push each other off, despite ramming into each other at every opportunity. We're losing some people at this little turn, and we're even losing some people on the straight part. Come on guys, just last a little bit longer and you'll make it into the tunnel. Just a few more turns. And now we've lost Hot Joe. Not Hot Joe. He was so hot, he melted the ice and slipped off. A few more casualties on that last turn, but we're finally in the tunnel. So congrats to our 6 finalists. Cameron Cookle, Humanity, Midnight Posting, Music5, Protectator, and Scaristo. And lastly, the Ice Bridge. Can they all make it across? Oh, we lost Humanity. And for the other 5, they all made it. But who got first? Well, if we check the instant replay, we can see that Midnight Posting was the first to cross the finish line. So, congrats to our first place finisher, Midnight Posting. And good job to the other people who also made it to the end. And everyone else will be ranked by how long they lasted in the race before dying. So yeah, that's what a member event is like. So if you want to get in on the next one, consider becoming a member of my channel. Like, I know other YouTubers will take sponsorships and talk about how a company's product revolutionized their life.
Okay.
Something like that. And I'm not
saying
shitting on
it.
them, but that just doesn't feel like me. Like, I don't use many products, and of the ones I do use, I'm not like super passionate about them. So I really don't want to have to pretend to like some product to get you to buy it just so I can make money. Plus, what if I did back a company and then it turned out they were doing some shady business practices or something? I don't want to be associated with that. I don't want to stake my reputation on something that I have no control over. And so that's why I like these member events. It's like the perfect alternative that feels right for me. You guys get to pay to be in the video and participate in the event, and I get to express my creativity by putting you guys into interesting scenarios in the game. So yeah, that's why I'm glad I came up with this idea of member events. But let me know what you think in the comments. And one more thing, Mr. Lunar Complex, I've been thinking about what you said, and you did try your best in the race, so I have an idea that I think you'll adore. Yo, I'm the doorknob on the door. Keeps attacking us.
Alright, cunts. I am going to fuck off to bed. Maybe. Should I? Maybe I might watch a quick little video, maybe. Maybe. I'll fuck it. I'll finish the stream. I'm gonna head to bed. I've got work on tomorrow. So, have a good night, everybody. Enjoy yourselves, and I'll see you maybe tomorrow. Not sure yet. Have a good one.